So I remember, I parked in the parking lot, walked into the lobby. I was telling the receptionist lady that I have an interview, and then I remember getting a compliment from the receptionist lady saying that, "Oh, like you're probably like the best dressed person here," which gave me a little bit of a confidence boost. So she told me to sit down. I was about like 15 minutes early, so I was just sitting down, feeling a little nervous to be honest, but I guess the confidence boost from the receptionist lady kind of helped. And then the hiring manager eventually came around. I stood up, shook his hand, looked him in the eye, and then felt kind of a sense of relief because I could tell that he was a pretty good, pretty sincere, kind person. And then he walked me over into the conference room where we had the interview. So like during the walk, I remember seeing the center fuselage of like F-18s being built, which was like super cool. Like first time I was seeing like such a really high level production environment on the way. So we got into the interview room. It was me, and then it was one of the other engineers. He was a lead manufacturing engineer. So it was the three of us just sitting down. And overall the interview was pretty basic. The hiring manager wasn't too technical of a guy, which I wasn't too worried about. So the hiring manager asked behavioral questions such as, tell me about yourself, tell me about a time you ran into a conflict and what you did to resolve that issue. So a specific example that I provided him was like, oh, I was like one of the younger engineers working on a really big project, and I had like a lot of key milestones that I really needed to hit for my project that I needed help from a lot of different departments like quality and supply chain, and they're being pretty unresponsive. They're being pretty unresponsive with like, instant message chats or emails. So like, it just came to a point where I realized that like, hey, I really need to put my foot down. I really need to make sure things get done. So like I do things like walk over to their office, like, hey, like I need XYZ done. Like, when can you do it? Like, why can't you do it yet? And I just really had to be more assertive to get things done in that nature. And just taking that type of initiative, taking that attitude towards like, as a result of that, like I was able to complete like a lot of projects. And that's what I was able to explain to my interviewer, and he was pretty impressed with that kind of answer as to, being a younger guy and having to basically put your foot down and assert yourself like that. So I left the interview feeling somewhat of a good note. And then I guess it was about a week or so later that it was during lunchtime that I remember getting a call from a recruiter, but I was busy so I couldn't pick up. And then I ended up getting a voicemail. So I checked my voicemail and saw that, hey, I got the offer. So I remember feeling pretty ecstatic about that, yeah. And then I saw an email from the recruiter, offer letter and all that. I'm like, whoa, it's like so legit. So I was just telling like friends, telling family, and I remember being pretty excited because it was like, Northrop Grumman is like, as a younger engineer, or like as an engineering student, it's like one of the companies that you want to work for, especially as a mechanical engineer. Because I was able to get my dream job, like I just wanted to be able to help others do the same. So be able to teach others how to write things like resumes, cover letters, interviews, and optimize their LinkedIn so that they can land their dream opportunities. So my business is a career services business that focuses on resume writing, cover letter writing, LinkedIn optimization, and giving mock interviews to people who are trying to get jobs into basically any type of industry like engineering, finance, accounting, healthcare, and basically help them land their dream jobs. Sure, so let's say using my senior design project, I was on Baja. So a high level bullet point that I put for working on Baja was design and fabricated an off-roading vehicle with a team of students, which I thought at the time was a good bullet point when I was applying for jobs, and I had that in my resume. But looking back at it now, it's like, no, like there's so much more that could be added into that bullet point. So instead I would phrase it into something like, design and assemble a $10,000 fully assembled Baja vehicle with a team of like 50 plus students to showcase like more of the business side of it. Like, because in the business side of things, we care about things like budgets and dollar values and revenue. So just putting things like dollar values makes it more so understandable for recruiters and hiring managers to understand the specific impact that I have. And then adding the sentence or adding the phrase like 50 senior students shows that, oh, I can work in a team-like environment instead of like working with seniors. Put things like software things like dollar values if you have any, or if not dollar values, then what type of engineering parameters you're working with. So like, what type of stresses are you dealing with? What's the weight of the thing you're working with? What velocity, what pressure? Put things like those type of numbers on your resume bullet points. So it was cool to develop that sense of teamwork, that sense of camaraderie with other students, and pretty rewarding when you would stay up all night and study for like multiple nights, like in like rooms such as like McCarthy Hall or something, like filling up the whiteboards or the chalkboards with like all these engineering equations, and then just like leaving them on just to showcase what we did for the next class that came in the morning to see like, oh, who was in here, who was like doing all this. I did grow up in a, say, lower socioeconomic background, so I guess in a sense it's really nice to be able to go to school, finish school, and end up with a decent paying job. So in a sense, I'm really happy and really appreciative and really grateful to be in the situation that I am in. But at the same time, it's like, I also do want more. I also feel like there's a lot more to achieve. And I feel like one way that I'm able to pursue that sense of happiness is by helping others land their dream jobs. So just giving other people guidance on things like their resume, cover letter, interviews, to be able to, get them also into like their dream jobs at their dream companies, because it's a really, really amazing feeling. That sense of security, that sense of stability, especially when you don't have it growing up.